Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5 Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about non-Christian proofs for the existence of Jesus Christ. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Got my tea here. So I wanted to talk about the existence of Jesus Christ, because you do hear people say that Jesus never existed. And I find this to be so, on one level, shocking, but on another level, not shocking. Because shocking in that we have non-Christian sources of the existence of the human man that is Jesus Christ. But not so shocking in that, as a whole, Americans are woefully ignorant of history, because they're taught in public schools, which of course are anti-Christian, and they're not going to teach a Christian view of history. Even Protestants would agree with this. I mean, you see the use of BCE and CE instead of BC and AD, because they're trying to take religion out of our minds. And now you have before Common Era and Common Era. But so it's not too surprising. But Jesus Christ, the man, existed, and I don't really have a lot of episodes really defending the faith against atheism. That's my goal in the upcoming 6 months. This channel's existed now for about 8 months, to do more atheist ones. The original ones are mostly just defending the faith against Protestants. But the argument that Jesus didn't exist as a man is just nonsensical, because you have the two biggest enemies of early Christianity writing about Jesus Christ existing as a man. And that's going to be the ancient Romans and the Jews. So we know Josephus was one of the most famous Jewish historians of all time. And he was writing, maybe 50, 60 years, maybe a little more, after Jesus died. And he mentions in his writings of a man named Jesus Christ, or a man named Jesus, who existed, and details some of the things that happened. You also have the ancient Roman writer Tacitus. Tacitus wrote in his volume called the Annals, A-N-N-A-L, the volumes. He talks about how Pontius Pilate crucified a man named Jesus in Palestine, in the province of Palestine, and so forth. So you have the two enemies of early Christianity writing, people in the world writing about the man that's Jesus Christ. Now, you hear the atheists will say, well, the Gospels are all biased. It's all biased people, so they're fabricating the man of Jesus. On one level, I could understand the argument, but you can't explain that. You think there's a massive ancient Roman conspiracy in collusion with the Christians to fabricate a man named Tacitus, who existed in the early imperial era of Rome, to fabricate that, to justify the existence of the fabrication of Jesus. I mean, come on, really? And you really think the Jews would go along with this? We talked about in the episode why the Catholics have a bigger Bible. Sometimes the Protestants will argue that the Jews met in the Council of Jamnia. They repudiated the Septuagint, and that's why the Deuterocanonical, or the apocryphal books, as the Protestants will call them, are no longer in the Bible. You got to understand, the early Jewish rabbinic tradition, because they destroyed the temple in AD 70, so after that it was more the rabbinic tradition with the Talmud and all these things, is exceedingly hostile to Jesus and Christianity. I mean, I can mention quotes from the Talmud here, but I mean, this video probably wouldn't even get on YouTube if I mentioned it. So let's just say you can look it up yourself, Talmud's view on Jesus and Mary. Just look it up. But there's no way that the Jews would be part of some conspiracy to cover up the existence of the person Jesus Christ. The Jews despised early Christianity. They despised it. So Jesus Christ, the man, existed. Absolutely. He was on this planet. He walked on this earth. Now, if you want to argue the fact that he was not God, okay, that's a completely separate topic for another day. And yes, with religion, there is a question of faith. There is a question of faith. I would say this, though, about believing that Jesus was truly God and truly was resurrected. All the early Christians, the disciples, all the apostles, we have the two-part series on how all the apostles were martyred aside from St. John the Evangelist. All of them were martyred for their faith. You look at all the early Christians, and we mention a lot of them in the Eucharistic prayer and the Mass. You have Perpetua and Felicity. You have Cecilia, Agatha. You have later on St. Lawrence, St. Sebastian. All these people, they all went to the grave. You look at Ignatius of Antioch. We have an episode on him. We have an episode on the Apostolic Father Polycarp. You look at Clement of Rome. We have an episode on him. All these Apostolic Fathers. They went to their death saying that Jesus Christ was resurrected. Try to get 5 people in a room and have them fabricate a story and interrogate each of them, and you're going to find out really quickly that the story was lied and fabricated. People can't keep a story straight. But they truly believe that Jesus rose from the dead to the point where they died for him. And this is all the early Christianity. You don't see one early Christian, and Protestants can agree with this too. You don't see one early Christian saying, no, we made all this story up. Jesus wasn't resurrected from the dead. You don't see anybody coming up. You don't see anybody alleging to have the bones of Jesus Christ. No one has it, just like the bones of Mary. No church says they have the bones of Mary, because we don't have Mary's body, because Mary was assumed. That to go to the 2-part series on the Marian dogmas. But it's the same thing with Jesus. So just understand, there was this massive cover-up about the existence of Jesus. If you really believe Jesus never existed on this planet, you clearly just don't know history. And I don't mean to be offensive to you atheists who are watching this. You just clearly don't know history. But for those of you who think, well, maybe Jesus existed, but he wasn't God, just understand, people died for that belief. And it's not like Jonestown drinking the Kool-Aid, mass hysteria. It wasn't like that at all. It was not like that at all. People from all different parts of the world who didn't know each other believed this and went to the grave believing that Jesus Christ died and was resurrected. So it's just some things to think about. Guys, post in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Please hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Share with other people. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.